not dream, you think you don't dream. Yeah. The fact of the matter is, everybody dreams, but most people don't remember their dreams. Now, a dream is really kind of a succession of images and memories, emotions that come out in like a film strip, you know? They just are all put together sometimes, and that's why dreams seem so disconnected. But studies show that the average person dreams like 3 to 5 times every night. The reason most people don't remember is most dreams are only a few seconds long, but some can be like 20 or 30 minutes, and those are the ones that you will remember when you awake. And most of the dreams that happen during a part of sleep called rapid eye movement. You're familiar with that? Rapid eye movement, when you're in the deepest sleep and your brain activity is the highest. Rapid eye movement. Like when I look out now, I see a lot of rapid eye movement. People are sleeping. No. Now, our dreams can be about many different things, right? We dream about our loved ones, living and dead. We dream about our work, probably, your co-workers. Some of our dreams go years back, like people we knew in our childhood or the school that we went to. Some of our dreams are pretty fantastic, like we could fly in some of our dreams. Some dreams make us feel good, and other dreams are rather unsettling and troubling. How many of you have had a nightmare or a horrible dream where you wake up and you're kind of in a sweat, you know, and you have to remind yourself that it's only a dream? Many people even have recurring dreams, dreams that happen over and over again, kind of have like a continuous story. One of my recurring dreams, and this is the truth, is that I'm late for Mass, and I come over here, but the doors are locked. And I look in the window and everybody's here waiting, but nobody will open the door for me, no matter how much I pound. That probably tells me something. I don't know. Now, ancient people recognize dreams to be powerful things. Sometimes they believed that through your dreams you would be communicating with a deity or some god out there. The ancient Egyptians, we even have archaeological evidence that they recorded their dreams on papyrus. And they thought that people who dreamed a lot were somehow linked with the afterlife. So you can imagine that even in ancient Israel, the people believed that God could speak to them through their dreams, that God could communicate with people through the dreams, through the subconscious mind when people were sleeping. The Old Testament is filled with stories of dreamers. Right in the book of Genesis, we hear about Joseph, you know, and his amazing dream coat, his Technicolor dream coat. He was sold into slavery by his brothers. They were jealous of him because he was a dreamer and he could interpret dreams. But even when he ended up in Egypt, he interpreted the dreams of the Pharaoh. Jacob, who was the grandson of Abraham, had a wild dream of a ladder going right from the earth to the sky, to the heavens, and angels going up and down the ladder. Had an important meaning for him. Daniel, you know, who was thrown into the lion's den, he was a dreamer. He interpreted dreams for the king of Babylon. And even the prophet Samuel, who was called by God at a very young age, he used to sleep in the temple in front of the Ark of the Covenant, where the 10 Commandments were supposed to be. And he would communicate with God through his dreams. The most famous dreamer in the New Testament is Saint Joseph. It's interesting that, you know, when God wanted to tell Zechariah about his wife Elizabeth having a baby, John the Baptist, he sent the angel directly to Zechariah when he was awake. And when God wanted to speak to Mary about having a child, Jesus, the angel went to her in her waking hours. She was awake. But for some reason, Joseph was able to receive God's message while he was dreaming, while he was sleeping. We don't know why that's the case. But the angel appeared to him. And in the story we have today, we hear that Joseph was very concerned about the fact that his fiancée, Mary, was with child. Imagine what it must have been going through his mind. He knew what the consequences were legally for an engaged woman to be found pregnant and the father was not the fiancé, that could result in being stoned to death. Death was the penalty for adultery of that kind. So even though he was an upright man and wanted to follow the law, we're told that he was also just and he was compassionate. He loved Mary. He never wanted to accuse her publicly and cause her shame. So he decides that he's just going to end the engagement quietly and send her home to her family, the best thing to do. So he takes all of these emotions as he's worried and frustrated, probably sad, and he goes to bed with all those emotions. And then in a dream, the angel appears to him and says, son of David, Joseph, don't be afraid. Take Mary as your wife. The child has been conceived by the power of God. She will bear a son, and you are to name him Jesus, because he will save people from their sins. Amazing dream. What did Joseph do when he got up after that? Did he scratch his head and go, whoa, that was a doozy? Or did he say, never again will I eat hummus after 10 p.m.? Okay? No. He immediately did as the angel told him. He brought Mary into his home as his wife. He believed the angel. He adopted the child as his own. He accepted the truth that was spoken to him in a dream. Isn't that amazing that a person would act on a dream like that? But think about it. If Joseph was an upright and prayerful man, he prayed to God. He probably heard God speaking to his heart. And so he would have a dream and believe it. It must have been very vivid. He must have awakened and said, that was the real thing. I'm sorry, that was no dream. He knew God. He was familiar with the God of Israel. So when he dreamed, he believed. He trusted. He had great faith that God could speak to him while he was sleeping. And that was not the only dream Joseph had. If you read the rest of those chapters in the Gospel of Matthew, you'll hear that after Jesus was born in Bethlehem, the angel appeared to Joseph again in a dream and said, get out of town. The king is trying to kill your child. What does he do? Immediately packs up his wife and baby boy, and they head out to Egypt for an undetermined amount of time. And then after King Herod died, he had another dream, Joseph, and the angel said, you could go home now. It's safe. What does he do? He heads home. And then on the way home, he has another dream. And the angel says, don't go back to Bethlehem, go up north. And he goes up north, and he makes his home in Nazareth, where his family will grow. You know, I think Joseph is so important, but how come he's not really the focus of Christmas too much? We always hear about Mary and the baby and the mother and the child. That's beautiful, of course. Mary is unique. When's the last time you saw a Christmas card with Joseph and the baby? I haven't. How come there are no Christmas carols or songs that sing about Joseph the dreamer? I've never heard of any. But isn't it true that Joseph plays such a critical part in the story of Christmas? Without his nerve, really, his guts to act on dreams, the Christmas story would be very different, perhaps. So why is it we kind of push him to the sidelines? We don't really recognize him too much. Matthew's gospel that we hear every 3 years is the only gospel that talks about Joseph. I'm going to start like a hashtag. Me too, Joseph. Okay. But Joseph, maybe one reason that he's kind of overlooked, he has no words spoken in the Bible. He does a lot of things. He hears, listens, acts. He never says one thing. And then before Jesus becomes an adult, Joseph is gone. He just disappears from the story. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't use him as an example of how to live our spiritual lives. We dream like Joseph, of course. But we need to recognize that not all dreams have to happen while you're sleeping. We dream about the things to come, don't we? We hope. We long for things. Not like daydreaming, But when you're awake, you have hopes and wishes. You know, for example, how many parents dream that their children will be healthy and find good work and establish themselves in life? That's a good dream to have. How many people dream about finding the right partner, the right spouse, to marry and to have a family? This is a good dream. How many people dream about finding that right job that's going to bring them real meaning and fulfillment? That's a good dream. How many people who are sick dream about being healthy again? That's a common dream. And not only do we dream about things for ourselves and our loved ones, but we can have dreams about the good things that other people should experience. Like, how many people dream of living in a world of peace and security? How many people dream about a world where everybody has enough to eat, where they have clean water and a roof over their heads? Those are great dreams. How many of us actually dream about growing in our faith, drawing closer to God, even getting into heaven someday? Those are great dreams that we should entertain every day. So maybe that's why Christmas is kind of a dreamy time, isn't it? It speaks to us of joy and peace and happiness. It speaks to us about family unity and celebrating life. Christmas speaks to us about a God who loves us so much that he would be born into our world. Christmas speaks to us about the way the world should be. So it's a time for dreaming about the good things that God has in store for us. If only we took those dreams seriously like St. Joseph. Not too long ago, Pope Francis was giving a talk to some people about St. Joseph. It was probably on the Feast of St. Joseph when he did this. Here's what he said. Never lose the ability to dream about the future. Each of us needs to dream about our families, our children, our parents, our world, to imagine what life should be like. Dream as young people dream, unabashed in their dreams. Do not lose the ability to dream, because to dream is to open the door to the future. To dream is to open the door to the future. As we move towards the celebration of Christmas in a few days, let's ponder the faith of St. Joseph, whose dreams opened up a future for Jesus and for each of us.